And we are live, I believe. Let's make sure it stays on here. If it doesn't kick us off right away, it should work. What up? It's your boy Drew. It's Friday night. Checking out that outlining our enslavement. I'm here with Enslaved by Truth.
What's up, y'all?
What's good is it's coming up. Okay. So it's doing that weird thing where it switches screens between us. I'm gonna try to fix that while you're talking, but
while we're talking,
yeah, I think I can get it to where we're both like side by side, but let's just start doing what we're gonna do, and while we're talking, I'll work on it. Tonight we wanted to work on debunking Archaix. He's been blowing up a lot. And the number one thing that I see, let me see if I can share my screen with you. Man, sorry, we're doing this a different way than we normally do. Instead of trying to find it, anywhere you see any criticism of this guy online, you'll see the comments, all the fangirls in the comments say the exact same thing word for word. They'll say, you're attacking his past, or you only attack the man. You can't attack his theory or his ideas or anything. So what we're going to do tonight to begin with is just kind of go through his theory and show where some of the flaws and plot holes are in the theory. And then after that, then we can go in on him.
yeah. Then we'll get into the honey bun kind of stuff.
Right. So you want the honey bun, stay tuned. And you want to start it off while I kind of mess with these settings and try to get us in tiles?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'm not really sure where to start off because this guy is just like a gish gallop of fucking information. So it's really hard to keep up where he's going. But I guess the best place to start is really kind of the foundation of the system, right? Is that there are humans, actual humans on a spaceship, on a giant spaceship somewhere within reality. And these humans on this giant spaceship created a simulation.
And they're wearing VR headsets.
Yes.
And then we are the people
those people
are seeing inside of this is literally what he says. We're not like extrapolating anything. He literally says on the one he did yesterday, he says, you're going to take off your VR headset. There's going to be 6,000 other people on the ship with you, and you're all sharing the same experience. And then so where we are here right now, he says this is you're just an avatar. It's just a game, basically, right?
Right. So we're on I guess there's a select amount of people, though. I guess it's like kind of like in a Calvinistic kind of ideal where there's an elect and then there's reprobates, which would be NPCs, or he often says it's us and them is his dialectic. Yeah, I recently heard on the last one that he did with that Nino guy, he said that there's us and then there's them. But the premise of it is that we're on I don't know, maybe we don't count, maybe because we're not errants, but the errants are on a capital ship. All right, so this is like fucking Star Wars shit or something. Right, so there's this capital giant spaceship somewhere within whatever actual reality is, and then for whatever reason the people on that capital ship created a simulation. And that's in order to test things or to run through tests and algorithms and discover stuff or whatever. But the people that are on this capital, actual physical spaceship, right? Because that's the only reality. That's the only actual physical reality in his system, is that there's this capital spaceship somewhere, and people are actually on it, but they created a simulation in order to test out all these other things they wanted to test out. So that's where everybody's at. So
right. And one of the things I heard him say is they're like testing out different climates and all this different stuff.
Climates and all this kind of stuff.
To a different like star system or something, man.
Right. And a lot of, and that's my main problem with it, because a lot of it doesn't even follow, because each interview he does, like he'll drop some new part of it. It's like, well, that really confuses like the rest of all of it. But yeah, so the basic premise is that there's a spaceship somewhere and the people on that spaceship created a simulation. And now, though, enter in the simulacrum.
Yep. So you're inside the game. You're inside the simulacrum, which is an exact 100% replica of what's outside where you're in the spaceship. This is a 100% exact.
It's a copy of the simulation that's being ran from the spaceship. It's not the spaceship, right? So we're in a simulacrum of a simulation within whatever actual reality is, right? So the people on the spaceship somehow know that we're not in the simulacrum, and then if they created the simulation, then they would have to know that they were in the simulation from the get-go, right? It's like if you fire up a game on the computer, you know that you're playing a game. So if people created the simulation, then they know they're in the simulation. And essentially, there's no creator god in this system. It is really one of the biggest things about that, because he's saying that I don't even know what his base reality is, though, right? Because his base reality is the spaceship. His base reality is the people on the spaceship that made the first simulation, right? And then somehow, even though we're tied to those people on the spaceship that created the simulation, somehow we're deceived because we're in the simulacrum, which is just a straight copy of the simulation that we created in the first place. I mean, on its face value, this is stupid, right? I mean, it
sounds ridiculous to me.
It sounds ridiculous.
But we gotta like debunk this and show why this is.
But that's fine, whatever. So, that's the gist of it, right?
No, there's one more important layer now. So now inside the game, inside the simulacrum, then now something went awry, and this AIX program got installed, basically like a virus, right? Am I understanding this right? And
he doesn't make any clear distinctions on how that necessarily happened. And like, I know a lot of the errants will come at us and say, like, we haven't done enough looking at his research or whatever. I've listened to and I hate to admit it, but I've listened to hours and hours of this man's content. He does not explain why the simulacrum comes into existence. I haven't found a definitive answer.
Maybe he does, but I haven't seen that.
Maybe he does, but I haven't seen it yet. And I'd love anybody that wants to call in and tell us how that works. I haven't understood that yet, personally.
And we will be taking calls later. We want to get through kind of this part first. And then once we start talking about the honey buns and everything, you guys can drop the link and we can have multiple callers at the same time and everything. So on top of this, there's this AIX virus program that's the simulacrum we're in is locked down. Now he says there is also possibly hundreds and hundreds of other simulacrums running at the same time. Now I don't know if he says any of those are locked down at all, but ours is locked down for whatever reason.
Right. So it's a hijacking of the original simulation I've never seen where he really sorts this out. I thought it was interesting in the interview that he did with that one guy that had like the weird painting that was his icon or whatever. I can't remember who that was, but that guy's like a science fiction writer or something, and the guy was like critiquing his theory, but from like a science fiction writer perspective. And he was like, the guy was kind of pointing out like the loopholes or the non sequiturs and the plot holes in his theory, because that's a real like huge leap between how whoever we are, right? And I think this kind of is like with Matt's idea of like who are actual selves, like who our real boy Pinocchios are on this spaceship somewhere in reality, whatever reality is. And the real boy Pinocchios decided to make a simulation. And then somehow we forgot that we're in a simulation when AIX I guess AIX made this simulacrum, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the theory or not, because I haven't heard him really definitively lay that out.
And then and then there's one more layer. Now, if I understand it right, I could be a little off. Maybe I'm completely off, but it's confusing. Now, someone from outside on the spaceship, the real reality, the base reality, placed themselves inside the game, right? A long time ago, so that they could defuse the AIX sometime in the future. Now, I don't understand why this, he calls this the benefactor. I don't understand why the benefactor, when he first came in, why he couldn't just take this AIX down. But for some reason, he has to wait until a future date or something.
And then so the benefactor, who I guess is Loki, Enki, Enoch, and all these other characters throughout all these mythologies and histories. And then somehow he constructs the pyramid. And then somehow the pyramid contains what he says the Great Pyramid at Giza is a holographic representation of the mathematical construct that somehow is going to release us from this or something. But I mean, like,
yeah, we're not making this up. I think what he says is it whenever it gets activated, it shoots a beam out for like 2 seconds or something. That
So the pyramid is a machine, which and this is what he does.
Part of it.
This is what he does a lot, right? And I can kind of get down with that too, because I do kind of believe in the idea that the pyramid is a machine of sorts. But I find that's what he does, is he knows a lot of these like buzzwords or trigger words in all these conspiracy theories, and he knows when to pick one up, and it just sells the audience, right? So when you say the pyramid, the Great Pyramid is a machine, right there you pick up a whole subgenre of conspiracy theorists, right? And then he'll tie in lost ancient high technology. He'll tie in Anunnaki. He'll tie in mud flood. Whatever he can do with these trigger words for conspiracy theories, he'll tie in whenever he wants. And you could see the evolution of his theory when before he had no idea what mud flood or resets were or any of this kind of stuff. And then he started doing these podcast interviews with these people, and then he would absorb these words and stuff, these trigger topics and stuff. So like mud flood and reset and stuff. But yeah, toilet bowl. I do think the pyramid is some kind of machine of sorts. I think it might have been a water pump, really, is what I think it was. But judging by the
time machine, man, that's my theory. But
I think it was a water pump.
That later.
I think it was a giant water pump, is what I think it was. But
it is built to mechanical precision. So, but there is all those ancient, not ancient. I mean,
there's parts of it that are well, you know, this is one of my favorite channels is Sacred Geometry Decoded, right? And he goes through all these claims of all these lost ancient high technology guys and really does a fantastic job of debunking them. But at the same time, I do think that there was something. I don't think the pyramid was a tomb, you know, but I can conceive of it as being some kind of practical machine. And I think that the most logical idea of what it is as a machine possibly was a water pump. Given the Grand Galley, you know, all the way the whole thing is set up, I think it definitely could have been a water pump. But to irrigate fields, and you know, that way people could make fields and make food and survive.
Boru in the chat, man. Shout out, you've supported the channel in the past. I did see you talking shit the other day on Jay Dreamers, but that's okay, man. The problem I have with what I'm talking about when I talk about that is everyone immediately jumps on and says, this is a troll. It's not a troll if it's true, okay? And we're going to get to that stuff later. But first, I want to talk about specifically just the theory and the information and stuff, okay? So I did want to shout out to Boru.
Yeah, I know Boru's a big. We've seen him in all these chats. I know he's a big fan of of
Yeah,
Archaix.
and he
I,
does say
I,
Archaic
I,
says
ha-
it's a pump.
I don't know that I'd seen Archaix say that it was water pump, but if he does, I what I've heard him say most recently is it's a holographic representation of the mathematical construct that somehow in some way controls the Phoenix device or reveals the Phoenix device, or it is a machine that will be activated. Okay, so if he does say it's a water, I mean, if it activates a water pump, I mean, what? I mean, so what? We're gonna irrigate fucking Giza? I mean, like, I don't understand how that's a big deal or whatever. You know what I mean? But at the same time, though, like what I was saying about sacred geometry decoded, he really does an excellent job at breaking down a lot of these ancient high technology guys that grift on this idea that all this stuff in the pyramid is like machine perfection, and there's no way they could do this by hand, all this kind of stuff. Um, which is obviously just not the case. I mean, it really doesn't seem to be as grand as it really appears to be. But Jason does have a lot of good points. Like, I do think the pyramid is like a geopolymer. I do think they were making the blocks, they were casting the blocks out of geopolymer, with, like a concrete of sort, right? So like they were building it on site, stacking the blocks. Um, and I do like the idea. I don't know if Jason entertains the idea of like the internal corkscrew idea of the pyramid. I don't know if you've familiar with that, but there's like a Swedish or a German scientist or whatever that has this theory that there's this internal like corkscrew passage up through the pyramid, and it explains how they were able to move the blocks up and down through the through the to stack them and stuff like that. And you could also even, if you were casting the blocks, if they were geopolymer, you wouldn't necessarily have to have an insane amount of power to be able to move the blocks, because you could pump the material, the water and the slurry or whatever you're using to make the geopolymer. You could pump it up to the next level pretty easily, right? I mean, like with a Archimedes screw or something like that. But
Okay, and
yeah,
while we're on the pyramid,
that's the
but
problem with I think like his theory leans heavy, even though he doesn't say it. It leans heavy towards ancient alien kind of shit. Is one of my bigger problems with it, right?
well, it's based on ancient alien type books and stuff. But
It is, because one of his biggest people that he shouts out is David Childress, who is like one of the number 2 contributors to the um Ancient Aliens series, right? David
and David
Childress.
Wilcock is another one.
Well, recently he said he doesn't like David Wilcock, but
Well, that's the
I've
thing.
heard him.
So let me
That's the thing. I've heard him say on
hold on
other show. Yeah.
before we get off the pyramid. I just want to say, like on that most recent one, he talks about in the same breath almost. He talks about how these Egyptologists don't know what this thing is. They don't know anything basically. But then at the same time, he says these measurements by this specific guy is the only measurements accepted by the Egyptologists. And he uses those measurements because of that, but also because they fit in if they fit it into his 138-year cycle theory.
Right.
So I see a lot of that like cherry picking type thing. Same thing with Zachariah Sitchin. He talks mad shit about Zachariah Sitchin, but then when he wants the dates on the timeline, there it is, Zachariah Sitchin's date right on there.
Right, exactly. So he'll say that there's, like I said, there's a they and there's an us, right? So, and then all of these elites, quote unquote elites, Freemasons, the Vatican, whatever, control all this information or know all this information, and then keep it from people, right? But Sir Flanders Petrie, the guy that he always quotes about the measurements of the pyramid, he's a member of the Royal Society, right? So we're talking about direct connection to what we would call the elites or Freemasonic organizations. So I mean, why are we taking this one guy's information, ignoring the fact that perhaps he's a part of what what he would say is the deep state or AIX agents or whatever. He really doesn't suss out what that even means, really, like or who. It's really a gray area in his theory. But if we're relying on what a FRS, Royal Society scientist is saying, I mean, the measurements could be correct or whatever, but that's the other. He gish gallops so much information, and he claims that he provides sources for it, but he really doesn't ever provide the sources for it, though, because when you really do try to go back and look at it, it's pretty hard to look at. And then the claim will be, well, I had access somehow in the prison system. I had access to these unknown manuscripts or whatever.
I've seen some of these books on Amazon. They're like $250.
Right. Well, and maybe the law has changed recently, but I just looked it up. And if you're in a maximum security prison in Texas, which he was, you're not even allowed to have a hardback book. You're not even allowed to have an old book. If you have a book in the maximum security prison in Texas, it has to be a brand new book purchased from a reputable reseller.
Amazon.
Direct. You can't have an old hardback book in a maximum security prison in Texas. As of now, if that was different years ago, I will stand corrected. Somebody will have to show me that. But as of now, if you look up the prison that he was in, well, at least in the end part of his sentence, when he would, because he has, I guess we're gonna mix in talking shit a little bit, I guess, or not. Where we're not really talking shit, right? This is just it. This is just things that are there. I'm not judging the man. I'm saying he was in this prison. He filed a bunch of petitions because he thought he was being treated unfairly, right?
He was on the host squad.
He didn't want to be on the host squad.
He was on the host squad.
He was on the host squad. They were making him wear dirty clothes, being a dirty hoe on the host squad. Dude got mad. I'm not working on the host squad, he says. So then he sues the prison system for putting him on the host squad, right? So, and these are all documents that are easily found if you just search Jason Brashear.
We're literally not talking shit. There's literally a lawsuit or whatever against the state of Texas that complains about what they call the hoe squad.
Yeah, that's what's funny. Even in the official court documents, they call it the hoe squad.
And he has other lawsuits too, where it was like he didn't even file his paperwork on time and everything. But I guess we can get into that later. But
we'll get into that later. But I don't know where we were.
Let's get back to the theory, because there's even more.
Let's get back to the theory. There's more.
The pyramid. There's a benefactor.
So we're at the pyramid. The benefactor.
There's an AIX. There's a benefactor. There's all this. Now there's also a Phoenix device. Okay, if you're not familiar, that's the main part of his research that I hear the most of, that he talks about. And
right, the Phoenix device.
Now the sky is a construct, but somehow in the sky there's a hidden weapon, basically a device.
There's a machine in the sky
that is considered to be
a real machine, like
not a construct. Yeah,
right. It's outside. It's outside the simulacrum. I think is the part of it, right? Because it's the stars are a hollow sphere. A hollow sphere. He calls it stars.
Sphere now, I think.
Sphere. Okay, but the sun and the moon are local, is what he says, and the moon and the sun are hiding things. And I don't know if that means that one of them's hiding the Phoenix device and the other one's hiding the Nemesis object. So these are the other two parts of big parts of the theory, right? So go ahead. The Phoenix device.
And the Phoenix device is there to be the keeper of time, so that somehow the simulacrum knows that these bad guys are going to take over and lock it down, or keeps, I'm not 100% sure. Does it keep AIX in check basically or something? I think it's just the humans that
No,
run.
yeah, I don't. It doesn't. I don't think it ever claims that it keeps AIX in check. It somehow keeps the baddies, which may or
The
may
elite.
not the elite, which may or may not be agents of the AIX. That never gets really explained
And
either, right?
it might, because there's like 300 videos. So
Right.
neither one of us watched every
Maybe it
video.
does.
I've watched many, many
I've
videos.
got hours
Yeah,
of
same,
it.
bro. I've watched a lot. So, but here's the thing with the Phoenix, it's 138 years and it's to keep these bad guys in check so they can't mess with your calendar. So if you're not resonating high enough, if you're not vibrating high enough through your feelings and your good juju or something, then when the 138-year time is up and the buzzer counts down, this Phoenix device comes and somehow just wipes you out. If your informed field can't protect you because you're just like too low vibration, man.
Okay, well, but here's the other thing with the Phoenix device in the 138 year cycle. It's not every 138 years. When he mapped the recent one he did where he redid his drawing, because this is allegedly the first time he's had access to graph paper. So somehow in prison he had access to all these ancient manuscripts written on vellum and hardback and direct from the Vatican Library, I guess, or some shit. He had access to all this stuff that nobody knew about, whatever, where he was able to write his chronology. Somehow he wasn't able to get graph paper in prison, I guess. But so now he's got the art studio, so now he's got graph paper. So he redrew out his Phoenix timeline. Well, there's these huge gaps of time in the Phoenix timeline where it's not every 138 years, right? So what he does is he cherry picks random events that would happen in years that are divisible by 138, right? So that's how he maintains the 138 year cycle of the Phoenix thing. It's not every 138 years. It could even be years that are just divisible by 138 years.
And then every four, I believe I have this right, every 4 cycles of 138 years, whatever the hell that is, that's like the big one, I think. That's the one that just people disappear and whole civilizations are wiped out or whatever. I think I have that right. It's whatever 138 times 4 is. And
Well, right. I don't have my my
years.
batteries.
And
I
that's the
couldn't change
nemesis event or something like that, I think is what he calls that one or something.
I couldn't change the batteries in my calculator earlier, but I
Uh,
wasn't prepared for it. But yeah, so but
let's
like
break down this Phoenix for a little bit more, because there's some major problems that I have with
there's
this
major
Phoenix.
problems with the Phoenix idea, right? I would say my major problem with it is that he portrays as if he has some kind of objective truth, some kind of objective chronology, some objective history that proves this 138 year cycle or years that are divisible by 138. But I would say that all history is going to be subjective, right? Because you're picking out moments in a timeline that you deem to be important, right? So if this is right, there between those 138 year cycles, there should be nothing that ever happens, right? There should be
Correct.
no wars, no volcanic eruptions,
Correct.
no plagues, nothing, right? So there should be every 138 year cycles would be when these things happen. And that's not the case. He picks out 138 year cycles or things that can be divided by 138 and then nitpicks, pulls out things that could be deemed as important. And then that's what he puts on his timeline to build this theory. This is the data dump, right? Somehow these data dumps, somehow these prove without a doubt that there's a giant machine in the sky and that we're in a spaceship somewhere and we made a simulation, but it got hijacked. Like the logical leap between these is it's insane. Like I don't understand how anybody's buying this whole cloth that somehow, because he says the math doesn't lie, his arithmetic doesn't lie. This proves without a doubt somehow that things happened in certain years in random spots in the world. Somehow this proves there's a machine in the sky. There's a overlord AI.
That's
AI
targeting, it targets only people that aren't like good juju or something.
Yeah, targets people that are low vibe, right? Because there's no morality in the system. That's one of the other big things. Is there's no morality in his system, right? There's no good or bad. There's high vibration and low vibration, whatever the fuck that means, right? You're either high vibing or you're low vibing. And then somehow this device in the sky is going to attack these people that are low vibe, I guess, right? But somehow the elite, which is what that device is also supposed to attack, somehow they have the knowledge of this so far in advance that they have underground dumbs. And so here we have another example of him using another main genre or topic out of another conspiracy theory, pulling it into his theory where
Dumbs you're talking about, right?
Yeah, he can say dumb
military base.
Right. He can say dumbs. The elites have dumbs, and then that's
go,
that's a hook.
About dumbs.
I know about that, right? So then right. So then that ties it all in, right? So the elite have these dumbs underground.
Plasma apocalypse, bro.
The reason they have them is because they know about this 138-year Phoenix cycle, right? But somehow this Phoenix device is supposed to be keeping these people in check, but at the same time, these people know about this,
right? And they can dip out.
They just dip out,
and then as soon as the Phoenix is gone, they just come back up and they come back.
And
so
they're even
major plot hole in his.
They're more powerful after the Phoenix cycle than they were before the
out, and they're underground producing Humvees and machine guns and everything. So they come up to a wasteland where there's no tech, and they have all the tech. So now they're more. Yeah, you're right. They are more powerful after this Phoenix event.
After each reset, they're more powerful. I guess that makes sense in the reset mud flood theory, right? Because you're getting rid of the useless eaters. But it doesn't make sense in his theory because the Phoenix device is supposed to be going against the baddies, right? But when you go through all the examples of his 138-year cycle, right, which is also based on a Jew calendar, that's another big thing about it. Like his entire chronology is based off the Jew Axis Monday calendar, right? And then he ties in all these really kind of ridiculous, like biblical creationist, really fringe ideas like the vapor canopy and all this kind of shit, right? So like he has a 6,000 year or so timeline, right? And then really like his post BC stuff is very convoluted, and like his timeline doesn't make any sense really when you look at it. But then at the same time, he uses biblical chronology, but then at the same time, he rejects the Bible as being a valid source of information at the same time. And this is just, he constantly contradicts himself. He'll use a source to make a big part of his theory, but then he'll discredit the source that he's using. Like what we said with Zachariah Sitchin, or the guy that thinks he's
David Wilcock.
David Wilcox. David Wilcox thinks he's Edgar Casey, you know?
Yeah, and to me, it's just a lot of like cherry picking, like you were saying before, like the 138-year things should be, like you said, only happening then. Like he'll cite a lot of times, like, oh, Blood Red Rain was in this year because this planet or one of his, I don't remember if it's Nemesis or whatever, is nearby Earth in that year, and that's why there's Blood Red Rain in that year. But when you look, you can look it up online, and I'll touch on this online thing in a second. And there's Blood Red Rain not all the time, but in other years,
in other years, right?
Yeah. When I looked it up just before we started, I think it said 2011. There was some in I have it up right here. Let me see if it's, but either way, it's not on his timeline, so he doesn't cite that one. You know what I mean? Then another thing he does, I believe he introduces, whether he knowingly does this or not, I'm not sure, but he introduces almost like a master and slave dynamic between himself as the teacher and you as the learner, because he will only cite sources that are from books. And I believe it's even books before a certain year. Am I right on that?
Well, yeah,
or something like that.
Well, he claims that so he claims that you shouldn't read anything that's post the Nuremberg trials, right? Is what he says. That anything published after the Nuremberg trials is totally corrupted and you shouldn't read that. But we know, and we talked about this before, his bookshelf behind him, which was maybe like 30, 40 books, right? There was no 1,300 books on the shelves behind him, but all the books behind him were all really pretty new books that looked like they were fresh off Barnes and Noble. Like none of them were ancient books. And then recently, a subscriber sent him her dead husband's library or something. So now he's got like some old Encyclopedia Britannicas or some shit behind him or whatever.
Looking behind
so
him.
Like on the recent one he did with I had never heard of this guy before, but somehow he has like 300,000 subs, but he's only got like 6 videos or whatever. This Nino Rodriguez, or I don't know, I guess he was a fighter or some shit, but now he's a truther or whatever. The recent one that he did, and I listened to most of that today. But he goes back. He's like, well, all these books are in the back, and these are all several hundred years old and whatever. And but what I was getting at with that is he starts out that interview with claiming right off the bat he's gonna hit with the Vatican burned all these books. So like he'll go with the most easiest hook that he can with the conspiracy community, that the Vatican somehow allegedly burnt all these books, but they didn't burn the books. They actually put them in the library, and then nobody can go into the Vatican library. Allegedly, is what he says, which is not true. But allegedly, there's this one guy that got access to the Vatican library, and they didn't know about it, and he specifically targeted this one book he knew was in the library somehow, and then he got all this information out of it. And I went and looked at this book that this guy was talking about. And when you look it up, the book is about the Talmud that he's citing, right? It's about the Jews in the Talmud. And then when you look, it's totally dubious because the guy doesn't source any of the claims in the book. They're all unsourced claims in the book. So Jason will cite sources that have no sources, right? And this is a typical theosophical play, right? The Theosophical Society would just make up whatever they want to make up, write a book about it, and then have no sources for it, and then have other people write books about this, citing it as a source, like Blavatsky. This is one of Blavatsky's main tactics. She would make up a claim that she made up herself, and then have other people write books about it, sourcing her as the source, but there really is no source, right? So, I mean, when you claim that you have a source for this claim, the source has no source, right? So it's an invalid claim, right?
Right. And then real quick, let me just say we got 150 people in the chat. I appreciate you guys all being here. We're going to take calls in a little bit. We're going to give a link. You don't need a Discord or anything. You'll just click a link and then allow your phone access to it. It's just straight through Google Meet app. So it's no crazy website or anything. But right now we're just kind of breaking down the theory, because the number one thing you hear from the errants when you hear any discussion or that they claim to be bad about Jason, they just say, well, you only attack the man, you can't attack his theory or anything. So that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to break down the
right. And this man's claim is that everything he says is based on a book, right?
Right. Let me go back to that. Hold on. That's before we got kind of sidetracked there. What I was saying is I believe, again, maybe unknowingly, that he creates a master slave dynamic with you, the viewer, because he only cites from books, but then you only get it through the internet. He does have books, but the vast 99.9% are hearing his theory through the internet. So already you're kind of like underneath him as an understudy or something, because he's only getting his things from books, and he'll cite any source, even a dubious source. What he's looking for is anomalies in history that match up on his straw man timeline, right? He wants to find an anomaly in history, plot it on the timeline, never investigate whether the thing is real, whether it's propaganda, whether a schizophrenic wrote the book, nothing like that. Could be the most dubious source. He's plotting it on the timeline. But here's the kicker. He also believes in Mandela effect. So the book could have changed.
Right. How do you know?
That's one of my major problems with it, is if you believe in the Mandela effect and you believe books are changing, you can't cite books as like, oh, this is the only good information that's out there.
Right. And I'm pretty familiar with the Theosophical Society and Blavatsky and all that. Like I recently went there. I went to the library, the National Library of the Theosophical Society. I'm pretty familiar with it. And I've also printed out the list of the 1,300 books that he alleged. Bam. This dude cites entire dictionaries. Okay.
He's saying he read a dictionary.
He read a dictionary. And this is one of the 1,300 books that he read. Entire volumes of encyclopedias are listed in that. This dude did not read entire volumes of encyclopedias. Come on now. But the majority of the stuff that's in here is New Age bullshit, theosophical stuff, and Freemasonic sources, which he says the Freemasons, the Theosophists, the Smithsonian, all these things, Royal Society, he says those are somehow, I guess, AIX agents or just they. Those are the they, right? And then somehow, basically, whoever believes what he's saying is the us. It basically what it boils down to, right? If you don't believe
for a fact,
we know this for a fact. We don't believe what they say. You believe what I say.
What's bizarre to me is the people that are interested in him. No offense to you guys, I believe you're kind of like rookies into looking at all this stuff, and so the mindset that you have is you doubt every single thing in history, and none of that could be real. But somehow some random dude on the internet, everything he says is 100% real. That's what's weird to me, is that, and I swear, and we've said this multiple times, I don't have a problem with the dude at all, especially with him making money. Go get that money. I don't have a problem with him talking about any of these theories or bringing these theories out. The problem is with you guys, the viewer, for not checking his work or double checking it and then calling him out when you find the inconsistencies. That's peer review. So when we come out and we do this, I'm considering it to be peer review. And everyone says, oh, you guys are haters. You're just player haters and all this. Now, could you imagine a scientist publishing his work for the world to see, and a couple other scientists come out and are able to show the holes in his work, and then the scientist just says, oh, you're a hater. You're a hater, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the other thing I hear from these people is, what are you bringing to the table? I don't need to have not even one answer to like dissect his theory and show where it goes wrong, even though I do have work.
Right. And we wouldn't even have to though. Really, I mean, to question it and to ask questions, but you should be asking questions about it, right?
Right. You're skeptical of the entire history of the world, but you're not skeptical of this guy that spent his entire adult life inside in a correctional facility.
And then somehow he just like copied out of an encyclopedia. He copied out of an encyclopedia, and what I he calls himself a chronologist. I'm a chronologist, right? If I was in jail for 26 years and I was doing all this work, I would at least probably try to get a degree. I would, or something to show about it, right? And then it doesn't even make sense how he would even know, right? Here's this list. Here's this list of these 1,300 books that he somehow knew to get. That's the thing. How did he know to get these books in the prison system? And that's the other thing. You can't even have a hard copy, a hardback book in the Texas maximum security prison. Okay, so there's no unknown fucking manuscripts in the Texas prison system. Okay, it's not a thing. So how did you know that you needed to get all these books that allegedly nobody has access to anymore, right? And I'm not being hyperbolous about this. This is literally what the man said on that last stream after that J Dreamer stream. He said, "I am the most read person in the world."
Did he really say? I didn't watch that whole stream. Did he really say that?
Yes, he really said that.
Here's where I think he has a problem is I think in the prison system, he probably was the smartest person in there, probably easily. He is very smart and he does have incredible knowledge retention.
I don't know if you read. I don't know if you read.
I just want to say he's going from the prison system being the probably one of the smartest people in there, but now he's in the major leagues of YouTube and he can't fathom that there's people out there that can see right through this bullshit. Like this is like the major leagues, right?
Okay, but here's one of the little tidbits that he's dropped in his videos, which he's never elaborated on. But he said that he had a benefactor in jail.
Who was that?
I almost wonder if there's somebody else that he got a lot of this stuff from, that compiled a lot of this stuff and that was feeding him this information or whatever.
From the outside?
No, maybe from the inside or from the outside, right? Who knows? But he did say on one of his videos, and I don't have the timestamp, I don't have the clip, but he did say that he had a benefactor in jail that was telling him what books to read and all this kind of stuff, right? Because I mean, this guy's in maximum security prison, supermax. Okay, he's in one of the hardest prisons in Texas. The one in particular that
he's eating his milk cartons, dog.
Right. The Texas 7 is one of the ones that prisons that he was in. There was these 7 guys that escaped from the Supermax prison. That was the prison that he was in. This dude's in Supermax. Okay. You're not just wandering the halls of a fucking library in Supermax. Okay. It just doesn't happen. And then like, even if people are sending you books from the outside, and then now if you look at it, you can't even have hardback old books in prison sent to you. Now, if somebody wants to challenge that, maybe years ago when he was in prison, that was okay, right? So, and there's this whole organization set up in Texas to send prisoners books, right? Because these Supermax prisons don't even have libraries. And like, it's not like the movies where there's a fucking old dude with a cart full of books going down the fucking cell block, to each fucking cell saying, "Hey, here's an ancient manuscript from the Vatican. See what you can do?" Like, come on, dude. Like, come on.
It's like the scholastic book club, but for prisoners. A little
right.
You
like,
can order
I don't know if you had the book fairs when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
You circle you circle what you want and go to the book fair. That's not this. It doesn't happen. Okay, right? I mean, like, I don't care how many honey buns or ramen noodle packs you got, you ain't getting access to these books because it's contraband.
Sorry, I was just reading the chat, but
Yeah, that's it. Conley unit. Conley unit was one of the big ones that he was in. And that's where the Texas 7 escaped from. So he was in a supermax prison in Texas, right? So you know, you had to do that. I mean, that's murderers.
I mean, we'll get to that. Let's get to that in a minute.
Right,
Hold on. Let's finish this theory up. I think we're almost done. We had the Phoenix, the AIX, the Nemesis, I
don't know if we even touched on the Nemesis. That's like a whole another weird tangent of the whole thing, right? I mean,
I'm not sure I know enough about that one to really.
I don't know enough about that one either.
I think that one's basically like what he's saying in that. I could be totally wrong here, but my understanding is that one's in orbit with the Phoenix, and that's the one that comes every 4th cycle of the Phoenix or something like that. And that's the big one.
It's like Nibiru. It's like Nibiru, or right.
That's my understanding. I could actually not be right on that.
That's something the way I understand it. It's Nibiru, the Nibiru theory, Planet X.
Yeah, and hey, to be honest, it's interesting, man, how he's woven this intricate lore. Marvelverse.
He knows a lot of these different ideas, right? But at the same time, it's like old heads in the game. Like, we know all these different. But what gets me though, you could watch the fucking History Channel and know all these fucking theories. It's all history.
It seems to me that when you look at in the past, we'll get into it a little later tonight, but before he was called Archaix, he was called Nephilim Archive, and he had a website called NephilimArchive.com. And I have some links to show later from that on the Wayback Machine. But back in then, I see a lot of the things added to the theory since then, which is great. You should always be constantly revising your theory and everything. But it almost seems like he cherry-picked ideas from other YouTube channels to, like you say, to resonate with these things, because then he has the reality tunnels, right? Vat City has the reality.
Vat City had the reality.
Almost the same thing. The AIX is basically the Not Nilk, right? From Matt.
Yeah.
It's like you can see a lot of these ideas coming from.
No, he definitely took stuff straight from Vat City, because there's that one video. There's that one stream that Vat City did. He's talking about like doing things different, like if you're going to work, just like take a random exit that you wouldn't normally take.
It's all about breaking patterns,
right?
And your dungeon programming.
He takes that. It's the same thing, right?
And then sprinkles on top, like, don't be scared, don't allow fear to get. There's like a motivational thing, just cherry on top of all this conspiracy, new age type things.
Yeah, and that's where I was going a minute ago, is that like he claims not to be fear-based. And then you'll see like in the comments, like all the errands will do the same thing, like fear is the mind killer and all these typical troper troops or whatever. And like, well, we're not apocalyptic, but like literally his theory is apocalyptic, right? Like,
yeah.
Right. So like there's a new Phoenix cycle coming up. And then after
everyone, even your family, if they're not vibrating high enough.
And then there's a Nemesis X cycle coming right after that. But at the same time, we're in a simulacrum of a simulation, and we're actually on a fucking spaceship somewhere in fucking space. Okay, this is how dumb this fucking theory is.
I mean, the fact that we have to come out and give facts of why, we should just be able to kind of say our understanding of it, which might only be like 70%, and you should be able to see how absurd this theory is. It's absolutely batshit insane.
I mean, I don't care what math. I don't care about your math. Like, he does the same thing that NASA does, right? He says the math is truth. My math proves that this is true. Your math doesn't prove shit. Your math cannot prove that there's a fucking machine in the sky controlled by some AIX that came from who knows where. Your math doesn't prove any of that. It's all pure sci-fi speculation. And I just don't get why these people are so enamored with this idea to where we saw in these recent they're talking about setting up a damn community.
Yeah. The number one thing I read in his comments is like, Jason has changed my life. How the fuck did this guy change your life? Call in and tell us. We're going to go through one more thing.
I want to know how this changed your life. I want to know.
Let's do one more thing, as I want to talk about his theory before we go too crazy. I can feel it bubbling up in both of us. Now he talks about the 138-year resets. Now, to me, if this was my theory, and I would, whether or not he knows it's he might believe it. He might have that pareidolia or whatever and see patterns that aren't there and all that. I think he knows.
I don't think he believes it. I think he knows it's bullshit.
Yeah, he knows it's bullshit, and he's a con man. He's a prisoner.
He's a con man. 100%.
That's what I believe. So the weakest part of the theory to me is the 1902 reset. And that to me should be the strongest part of the theory because it's the most recent. You should have the most amount of accurate data about it. So when you go through his list of things that proves the world was reset in 1902, it's unbelievably trivial shit. Small volcanoes here and there, which happen all the time, right?
Okay, let me just because I was looking into this yesterday though.
So another thing he cites is someone predicted a freight liner between America and England would sink and there would be massive death due to lack of lifeboats. They predicted that in 1902. That's a very vague prediction. And then he says that's the Titanic, of course, right? Which was 20 years later or something like that. So a prediction like that is not a fucking reset, dude. Ray Kroc being born in that year, the founder of McDonald's, that's not proof of a fucking reset.
Right. The air conditioner being invented.
That's like his biggest one is every building warns with air conditioner. That proves it was reset.
No. I don't understand how, like, I don't understand in his theory how the Phoenix device targets these agents of the AIX. Yeah, 1902 is the weakest part of his theory, but I will say I looked into that the one that he brings up a lot is the 1902 eruption of Mount Pelée. That is a crazy event. But I mean, it's not like it's a bunch of poor people that die in that. There's like 30,000 people that die in that. But when I was reading in the wiki on it yesterday, and there was something in there that was like super kind of crazy. Yeah. So subsequent to the eruption, so it did happen in May. And that's part of his theory is that the Phoenix device attacks in May of these 138-year cycles, right? So there's this giant volcanic spine that rises up after the eruption. After the eruption in 1902 of Mount Pelée. And they say in the Wikipedia, it says they called it the Needle of Pelée. Or Pelé's Tower. It grew to be up to 15 meters or 50 feet a day. And then it had the same volume of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. I thought that was kind of crazy. So like that one.
Is that the same one where he says when that erupts, even the scientists that were investigating it grew like 2.5 inches or something like that? That's another one of the. Yeah. He's like, yeah. So that's another one where I'm saying rather than investigate if that's propaganda or if that's even real, he just automatically says these researchers that were near this volcano, and that's 60-year-old man claims to have grown, and he just auto believes it and plots it to the timeline.
Right. And that's another thing, because when I looked at this, I was like, holy shit. I mean, like 30,000 people died in like an instant. And I'm like, well, if this happened, they had cameras. I mean, I want to see some I want to see some devastation, right? I want to see bodies piled up, right? And then when you look at it, it's like there's some dust on the streets and shit. Like, I mean, it doesn't look like it's the same thing when you look at like Civil War pictures, right? You look at like I was a big Civil War dork when I was a kid. Like I went to all the battlefields with my dad and all kinds of shit, like they say like Antietam, like the sunken road, the bloody lane, all this kind of stuff. Like there was just bodies piled on top of bodies. But then when you look at all the photographs, like the photographs are all staged and there's no real evidence of these events really occurring. So I mean, really, he's taking events on face value, applying them to his chronology, and then selling it as if this is objective chronology, objective historical truth. And there is no such thing as objective historical truth when you're talking about events that are 100, 200, 300, 4,000 years ago. There's no such thing as objective truth. You're picking out things that you found and you're making them important in your chronology. Therefore, it's 100% subjective.
Facts. That's how I see it. One more thing that I see about it. Well, 1902, weak as fuck to me.
Yeah, is the worst.
That should be the linchpin of the theory, in my opinion. Because
right, it should be
he even covers it up, and he hedges his bet and says the elites went underground here because they thought this was going to be the big one, but this was just like a light one, And the other thing is the next date he predicts 2040, May 2040. This can be the next one. This can be the big one. So you better pay him some money so you know where you got to go. Everything, oceans are going to overrun the lands and everything's going to shift and be underwater. So you got to know where to go. So you got to pay him some money.
It's going to be in Asia, though, allegedly, is what he says, that the next Phoenix cycle is going to be a big one, but it's going to be against Asia. But then he contradicts himself because he'll say, like, well, Nostradamus says that the whole Western world is going to collapse, right? But then he'll say, well, we don't have to worry about it because it's really going to be focused in Asia or whatever. Like, well, and he never makes any justification to where he's getting this from, right? And I guess that goes back to, we've already covered it before with the Orpheus prediction thing, right? Allegedly, he has this software that he invented that somehow can predict all these events or whatever. And he never goes in really to describe that. I think that's one of the biggest giveaways with this dude.
That he's a con man?
Yeah. One of the biggest things that's a giveaway that he's a con man is the Orpheus software.
And he claims he's a computer retard.
Right. But somehow
I would say honestly, for a guy that was in prison from whatever, early 90s or whatever, for 26 years, I would say he has very strong computer skills for the limited amount of time I think he's had to work on them.
No, and he even showed his computers. I've got the same old computer from Walmart. He has a Realtree, an HP Realtree camo laptop, like from like 6 years ago. Like, and he does really well. I mean, his live streams are great. Like, and the guy is very composed and very intelligent man. Carries himself very well for the most part and can really just talk, right? But then again,
bullshitter.
Yeah, this is what con men do. They can talk shit and sell things, right?
No,
I mean,
okay, hold on. Someone's calling us out here. Hold on, let's address these. This guy says, Tone Space says, Jason doesn't say pay me money to know where to go in 2040. Y'all know this though. I've heard him. What do you say? Hint at that. I haven't heard him say.
No, exactly. He does. I will say that.
I've heard him kind of hint that in a certain way before. In a roundabout.
I don't know. No, because he says you shouldn't be worried about it.
And then the same guy says he also doesn't say the real world is on a spaceship. He only theorizes that's what it may be. He does say that's what it is.
He does.
That's his best guess. Is this guy that went to prison? Here's the kicker. He went to prison for you.
I mean, if that's not
the comments I'm reading, and that's what that Phoenix Protocol guy, I had him on the ropes to say. That's what he had to say next, and he knew it. So this guy has created this entire fandom, basically this sci-fi fandom around this. It's like the modern day, like Book of Mormon or something, the Internet Book of Mormon. He's in a simulation. The simulation, he didn't do anything wrong. The simulation put him in there to read those books for you.
Oh, well,
Jesus
I mean,
died
even
for your sins. Jason went to prison for your illiteracy.
oh my God, yeah. Even in that Jade Dreamer stream, there's people saying that Jason sacrificed 26 years for us.
That's
Jason
what they say. I've
sacrificed
seen that
26 years of
many
his
times.
life for us to read these books and to put this information out for us. Okay, so us being on a fucking spaceship is part of that fucking theory. Okay, if you want to
Absolutely.
challenge, everything else doesn't make sense if that's not part of it. Because
he does that, yeah. He does say that's like his best guess, but this is the guy putting it all together. So the outside world, the only real base reality, he says, is you're on a fucking spaceship wearing a fucking VR headset with 6,000 other people going to a fucking planet. That's what
right.
We're not making this shit up. That's what he says.
That's what he says. That's the basis of the fucking theory. That's why we're like, what the fuck, right? Because if that's not true, then the simulation's not true, and then the simulacrum of the simulation's not fucking true. So then what are you enamored about this guy's theory? And that's what the problem. I see these people come from all these different subgenres of trutherism, and they attach on to something they like dumbs, right? Well, this guy's talking about dumbs, and he has a new idea about what dumbs are. Well, then I can pull in my other theory about what this is, and then it'll jive. And we see this with the intersection between Matt Earthers and Errants, where there's infighting now between Matt Earthers and Errants, where they're saying even Dale Earnhardt Jr. I don't know, he's probably in the chat, but he comes on Matt's every video saying, Matt, you need to admit that the not nilk is the AIX system. Jason's proven this mathematically without a doubt, and I'm not making this up. Mathematically, without a doubt, that your idea is his idea, and he can actually prove it, and you can't.
Yeah, I've
seen
a lot of different comments.
Somehow his fucking math proves this. Okay.
Hey, we've talked a lot of shit about Matt in the past. I'll say Matt's theory
is on the better side of this.
Yeah, this Jason shit is batshit, bro. It's bad to me. It's entertaining because I'm able to watch it and not get sucked into it. But the average person that's kind of somewhat newer to this, even 4 or 5 years into this, you're still into, like Benton likes to talk about. They're not interested in the ideas. They're interested in the personalities of the presenter.
Oh,
so they're getting sucked into the parasocial relationship. And now I think we've covered one last thing about the theory before we go totally off the rails is I'll say, to me, it seems like this whole theory, I can't prove this at all, but it seems like he's chosen 2040 as that end date because that gives him just long enough time after he got out of prison. He's got just a long enough window of opportunity to make money, and all the power to you, brother. Make all the money you can. That's fine. But it seems like that's why that date was chosen to me.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're a convict and you got that shit on your record, yeah, it probably is hard to get a real job. So get your money, bro.
I guess I would preface that. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, get your money. That's awesome. You could, you know how to game the system. You obviously you're huge. I mean, he's got like 5,000 subs in the last like 5 days, like a huge increase. We've been predicting that he's gonna suppress. He's gonna get over Matt.
Oh yeah,
he'll be over 80K by the end of the year. 100%.
I predicted the date December 28th. He'll pass Matt. We had a pool somewhere. I can't remember what day he'll pass Matt.
So whatever he's doing, it's awesome. I wish I knew how to do. He's getting interviews on like every single channel you could imagine.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a second because I feel like Well, I guess we have to first go into the. Is there anything else we need to cover about the theory before we get the?
So we did. So the initiation of the simulation, AIX, the pyramid, the simulacrum, the benefactor,
Nemesis.
Nemesis X, Phoenix device.
I mean, and honestly, this is like a small
130
part of this. Is probably like half of it. There's a lot more. Vapor canopy, yeah,
canopy.
Vapor canopy will return in 2040, and then that activates the Great Pyramid for 2 seconds or whatever.
Well, and I get that was one thing I don't know if I talked about it earlier, but the vapor canopy is like this nonsense Jehovah's Witness idea that came up like in the 1930s or whatever, where the Jehovah's Witness to try to explain young Earth creationism came up with this idea, this vapor canopy or whatever. And it even amongst young Earth creationists, the vapor canopy is like a totally discredited idea. Like nobody even really buys into that anymore. I think I mentioned that earlier. Even though he rejects the Bible, he's going to use something from Jehovah's Witnesses and biblical literist and young Earth creationists to tie into his theory or whatever, you know. And he often mentions this. He says something about like there was some kind of research project in Texas where they like built an artificial vapor canopy, and then somehow like in this artificial, I guess it was the biodome or some shit.
I didn't hear this one.
Yeah, he talks about this, and I've tried to go back and look at what the fuck he's talking about with it, and I've not yet been able to figure it out. There are some young Earth creationist societies that have like these studies, and they seem to be speculative, like where they speculate on if there was a vapor canopy, like you know, how the UV would work, how the water would work, and all this kind of stuff. But he says that they actually did a physical study, like built a whole fucking biodome with a vapor canopy or something, and that everything within the biodome with the vapor canopy like grew like 10 times bigger than what it was and all this kind of stuff, which really is counterintuitive though, if you think about it. Because I mean, you're going to be limiting. I don't know. I'd love for somebody, maybe if somebody can call in and they know about that study or whatever, because I know I've heard him mention it and I haven't been able to fact check it. Allegedly, he says in Texas, this creationist society built this artificial vapor canopy biodome, and they were able to grow like giant cockroaches and all this kind of stuff. But I can't find anything that verifies that to be true.
That's his shed in his backyard. One of the
Right.
sheds. This big ass cockroach is fucking chilling in there.
Yeah.
All right. I think we covered as much as we know about it. I mean, there's 300 videos. Neither one of us has watched all of them, but I've watched a lot, man.
I've watched a lot. Like more than I want to admit that I've wasted many hours listening to this dude.
You're probably like me though. Like it's entertaining, right? It's like
it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like the guy's good at what he does though. Like
right.
I'm not like annoyed listening to him talk about this stuff for the most part, you know. And I guess I would say like, yeah, I mean, great, you came up with this theory, even if you think it's bullshit yourself. I mean, I guess my biggest problem is that he's a Christ hater. And I guess that's my biggest problem.
He read the Bible like 50 times or something, front to back.
Right.
With notes to prove it or something.
He hates Christ. He hates God. I mean, he said that in that video, in that poem.
He hates accountability, it seems like.
He hates accountability because he made that poem that I think was directly a response to our stream that was the day before he released
when he dropped that poem. He's another poem. Beat Nick Brashears tomorrow live.
He dropped that poem saying that I hate this God. I hate this God that would force this morality upon me and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, no, I mean, I guess that would be my biggest problem. But you know, it's like good on you, bro. Fuck, man. I wish I could be quitting my job or whatever. But I mean, at the same time, like, the dude was making some bullshit fucking rock gardens or some shit or whatever.
Some masonry.
Yeah, he was a Mason. So who knows? I don't know. I mean, like, good on him for. But I mean,
Now, if you
whatever.
still believe in this theory,
tackle.
man, we've given you plenty of like reasons why we're skeptical about it. You can't say, you're not able to say in the comments of this video, you're only attacking this man personally. You're not able to challenge his ideas. I don't want to hear that comment in this video. I'm sure it'll still be there, but
entire theory challenged.
For 1 hour, we've been going on about him for over an hour. There's just cherry picking, you know, that's one of the biggest things I see. Texas sharpshooter fallacy. I see that a lot. Now let's talk shit, I guess. The problem that people have the most when I talk about it is I call out the fact that he lied. One of his most famous videos that got people on his side was when he talked about his time in prison and why he said he was in prison. And in the story, he says it was a kidnapping charge. He kidnapped a girl. His side of the story is he kidnapped a girl with a friend. Him and a friend were out with a gun, came across a girl. She had her daddy's Lexus.
He says they were going to find his real mom.
It was the day after the mom, so he's got mommy issues. The next day or whatever, him and his friend have a gun. They tell this girl they want her car, and she says, "Oh, well, this is my daddy's Lexus. I'm not leaving without it." So Jason's drive. This is his story, man. I'm not putting words in it. That Jason's driving, and the friend in the back things get real dark, and he kind of skips over this part. Next thing you know, her clothes are off.
Right.
He drops the friend off and then drops the lady off at the police station. That's how he tells the story. He saved that girl. You read it in the comments all the time. He saved it. So you should be looking at a kidnapping charge. But when you type the name in to Google, let me see if I can share my screen here. Why does it not let me? Oh, I bet because I don't have it up. 1 second here. When you type the name up, there it is. I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'll watch this stream, but I'm in delay. You get it right here. There was one charge of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, and then another charge, aggravated sexual assault with a deadly weapon. So if he didn't do anything and he didn't touch that girl, why is he a registered sex offender? You type his name in, it comes right up. Doesn't make sense. Why was he sentenced to 30 years if he saved this girl? He didn't do anything. Doesn't make sense. You guys automatically believe his story and they just repeat it verbatim. No, he didn't do that. I've heard people, I'll tell them this and they say, no, I went and looked it up and his charges match. That's not true. Right here in Texas law, what is the difference between rape and sexual assault? Under Texas law, sexual assault is rape. What do you think it is? What do you think aggravated sexual assault is? There's not a separate charge for rape. Under Texas law, sexual assault is the term the judicial system commonly uses to refer to rape. The crime known as rape in many other states is called an assaultive offense of a sexual nature under Texas law. When a person is arrested for suspicion of sexual assault in Texas, he or she might still use law enforcement officers. He or she might still use law enforcement officers use the term rape. That's written weird. Prosecutors and judges, however, will continue to use the terms sexual assault. It says forcible, violent intercourse with penetration or a sexual act. It could be coercive sexual acts, intercourse with penetration, and his is with a gun or with a weapon, I should say. Sexual abuse of someone who is not able to give consent due to mental incapacity or disability, intercourse, penetration with a minor. But his says 19. His says victim is 19. So those are the things. This is a Texas law firm website. This isn't me saying this. Yeah. Here's another penal code for Texas of kidnapping. Section 20.01. It's a different charge. It's a different code, penal code. There's kidnapping and there's aggravated kidnapping. just as there's sexual assault and there's aggravated sexual assault. So these are different charges. So the problem
Okay.
that I have is that he's saying, "Oh, it was kidnapping," when it wasn't, and you can look it up. So what I say is he's lying, or he's caught in a lie. In the story, he called his friend John, and then Joey, and then John, and then Joey again. When he
Well,
tells
yeah.
the story.
B Smiley's in the chat saying that. I guess recently he said that the guy went by John or Joey, but that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Okay, then let's go here.
You don't go by.
I have it right here. On his Reddit, someone called him out. This is on Reddit, r/Archaix. Someone named Rupert Neve, I think this might be Niven. Rupert Neve says, would love a link to him explaining why he was in prison for decades on charges of aggravated sexual assault with a deadly weapon, and why does he have to register as a sex offender? The Jason Brashears right here says, try to keep up. Already explained in 3 videos on YouTube. You think tens of thousands of folks haven't investigated me? 17 years old, 32 years ago, I was guilty. Deal with it. That's what he says. That's his own words right there. I was guilty. Deal with it.
No, yeah, he has no guilt to it.
Well, but then he does walk it back here, because this Rupert Neve says, trying to keep up. Why do you claim it was a 5 to 6 year sentence for kidnapping when it's clearly 30 years for aggravated? Kidnappers have to register as sex offenders? Question. This is something that he skirts around. He never really doesn't say he didn't get 30 years, but he does say he was at that time under quarter time. And this I actually believe. So they probably told him, just, this is your charge. This is 30 years, but most people are getting out in quarter time. So he says he doesn't say I was sentenced to 7.5 years. He says I was scheduled to get out in 7.5 years when I was 24 or 25. That's how he kind of word dances around that. But then he reiterates that here in a response. He says, because I was sentenced under the quarter law of 1990, meaning I'd have to serve 25% sentence, but I didn't get out when I was 24 because I got 12 major disciplinary cases, went to max security, and got another 7-year sentence stacked on my time. I was a criminal and haven't denied shit. John Renesto got 50 years. Quote, Joey, he says. And I took the woman to the police. Just 2 dumbass 17-year-olds carjacking people. And one incident took a wild turn. I don't use Reddit anymore. Totally ignore it. Maybe I ought to, because my past has made me wildly popular on YouTube. So he gives the name John Renesto with a 50-year sentence. I searched for it. It doesn't exist. Let me pull it up right now. I have a John Renesto. The only one I could find there was...
I never know anybody that was named John that would go by Joey. That doesn't even make fucking sense.
What it
Unless
is,
he
it's
was
a guy
John
named
Joseph.
Yes,
John
yes.
Joseph. Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna pull it up right now. It's oh man, how do I do this? Oh, because I'm here. 1 second. I thought I had this one up, but I don't. John Joseph Renesto is dead, and have heard him say this guy is dead. This is not the guy. This guy was born in 1949. So in his own words, he says, John Renesto here. This guy, when you look at his thing, this guy worked for WCCW at the Sportatorium in Dallas, Texas, where my grandfather took me to that Sportatorium when I was young, and I saw the Von Erichs in WCCW. I saw them all. I've been there. This guy was a referee for them. So I think he knew he fucked up. He went and found someone that was dead that had the name John Joseph and put that name in there. So you're busted again, dude. Just shut the fuck up. Quit talking, because you're digging yourself a bigger fucking hole. You're fucking up, dude.
I mean, if he was honest, he would say that I'm a sex offender. I'm on a list. You can look that up, and you can find my address, and you can look at my property. The reason that I have pneumatic weapons is because I'm a felon and a sex offender, and I can't even own real guns. Like, I mean, if he was honest, that's what he would say. And then even in that recent interview that he did, he didn't even he skirts it every time. Even he in that video response he did to the Jade Dreamer stream. He's like, well, anybody can go look. I did that podcast with the Paranormies, but I listened to that whole podcast, okay, and he doesn't explain any of it, right? He
Did you
skirts
listen
around
to it on his channel or on Paranormies channel?
on Paranormies channel.
Okay, I thought he cut some out on his channel.
He did. He posted it and then he deleted it, and I was listening to it while he deleted it, and then I went and I found their channel and I listened to them on fucking Spotify or some shit or whatever. So I listened to the whole thing. But no, he doesn't go in and admit to what he does or what he did or who he is or any of that. But you know, like I would say at the same time, like I can agree that this was 30 some years ago for this dude. And I guess I can understand how he might have got hemmed up, right, in that situation. And he might have made a dumbass mistake, right? I mean, because the obvious thing would have been to just get out of the fucking car and let the bitch go on her way.
If there's even a friend, I even doubt that there
right.
is a
if
friend.
there's even a friend, right? So I mean like we'd have to have the police report and stuff to know more about what happened. But you know, I don't know. I don't think he's being serious. But at the same time, though, on the prison sentence, though, too, I mean, a lot of that would make sense because obviously he was being a dipshit in prison because he was trying to sue the fucking prison system.
Yeah, and one of those lawsuits, I think, did refer to that what he calls quarter time. So I do believe him in that.
Yeah, and
watch how he words it. He says he doesn't say I was sentenced. He says I was scheduled to get out in 7.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you were sentenced to 30 and you know it. And then they might have flipped the script on you at whatever time. Yeah. Well, there's no recourse for you then because you're in the system and that's your sentence. So I'm not going to feel bad for you. Dang says, imagine the horrors she endured for 30 years. You guys got to really think about that. This is what I hear. People say, oh, he was just young. He was in with a bad crowd. This isn't a guy stole a fucking stop sign. This isn't a guy shot a fucking squirrel with a BB gun or some shit like that. Right?
Well, even in that stream, like that last stream he did, what was it titled? The title was funny. That like don't ask what you don't want it or some shit like that.
Yeah, you might be afraid of the answer you'll get.
Right. So he goes and he's like, oh, you know, I see a real voluptuous I see a real voluptuous avatar.
Yeah.
And my carnal instincts just kick in. And then like people in the chat like, ladies, watch out. I'm like, you're talking about a man that went to jail for 26 years for raping somebody.
And his catchphrase is break free or die trying. Like
break free or die trying.
Is that her catchphrase?
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what he needs to paint on the side of that van because that's what that van's for.
Yeah. And now he's got a fucking decked
once you get in that black van, you gotta break free or you're gonna die trying. That's what that van's about.
I mean, what the fuck, bro? He's got like it seems to me he has no remorse because he doesn't admit it. Like you said, if he just came out and said, hey man, I was fucked up kid and I had a fucked up childhood and it was fucked up, but it was so long ago. I'm a changed man and I don't expect you to believe me or something. Because there's going to be people like me that are never, ever going to believe or forgive someone for that. Some people might, and that's up to you. What's sick to me is the errants don't care. At least that Phoenix Protocol guy, at least.
Well, there's even somebody in there saying, and I would say that I would almost think that I think that Gabrielle says, okay, guys, you're dragging this out way too long. Jason did his time. 30 years is enough. He paid his dues. You don't need his police report. It's really not your business. God forgives. Okay, I will grant that. But I guess what a nuance or I don't even think that's real.
What?
There's a possibility that whole backstory is bullshit. Why would you go on the internet under your own name? I don't know. There's so many weird parts about it or whatever, right?
I think he's just trying to. He knows people will just auto believe what he says, and he knows it's people aren't going to investigate it. People aren't going to double check it. They're not even going to believe it.
At the same time, this is not ad hominem.
Absolutely
to call
not.
Him out
That's
for
what
this.
I hear all the time. Is
it's not ad hominem because if you have a questionable past and you're relaying information, it's not ad hominem to call out your questionable past when you're claiming to have knowledge. That's legit. That's not a logical fallacy.
Especially on the internet, dude, where there's these parasocial relationships. People need to know. People need to be warned. That's why I called Jay Dreamers and called him out, because people need to know whether he did it, whatever. What it's already done, right? There's nothing we can do about it. People need to know.
Jay Dreamers such a
he's a bitch. But we'll get into him in a minute. We'll react to that later, but people need to know. So when they reach out to him, these people are susceptible to this and reach out and they say, hey, before they send money or before they reach out to him, there should be a disclaimer like, hey, this guy is a registered sex offender. Everyone hates the government. Everyone says, fuck the government, doesn't do anything right. But I think most you would agree the Amber Alert system, that's a good thing, right? If it was your kid, you sure as fuck would agree. You sure as fuck would agree if it was your kid that got snatched on a fucking playground or something. And along with that, registered sex offenders, wouldn't you want to know if a registered sex offender moved right next door to you and you got kids that play out in the yard or something? Don't you want to know that? So I think he needs to disclose that, and the people that promote him and share this information need to disclose that, so the people that want to reach out and contact him or send him money or anything, they need to know before they enter that type of interaction or contract with him. So it's not an ad hominem attack.
It's not. It's not.
Would you want a predator living next to you? Wouldn't you want to know?
It's not. It's not. Yeah.
Maybe we've riled him up enough. Should we drop the link?